Mother of the missing toddler, Caylee, sits in jail not far from here. She's a person of interest in her daughter's disappearance. Moments ago, Casey's lawyer went on the record about today's announcement, new charges against his client. Jose, has your client been officially charged now?
Yes. Today, as a matter of fact, they charged her with a third-degree felony and a misdemeanor.
What does a third-degree felony mean?
That's the lowest grade felony permitted in the state of Florida, and it is for child neglect, not causing great bodily harm.
As a practical matter, your client may not be charged with anything more serious. There is the possibility people are suspicious of kidnapping or selling a child or worse, homicide.
Well, I realize that.
Murder, I should say, not homicide, but murder.
The reason I'm giving you that approach is because that's what we really feel. We believe this child is alive. And we feel that this child deserves better in terms of a search. She deserves better in terms of the public opinion. And I say that because until this child is found, she's still missing.
But the rest of the world looking at this is saying, if she so much wants to find her child, why won't she help? Her father walks out of jail on Sunday and she says that she's close. I mean, all these sort of vague or, incomplete statements, whatever you want to call it, is she's not talking.
Well, some people should ask themselves, or there's other ways of looking at it. The reason that she loves this child so much might be the reason she's not talking, number one. And that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Give me a hypothetical how that could possibly be. I mean, what is it that someone's going to kill the child if she says something? I mean,
yeah, like I said, rather than going into it any further, I'll just leave it at that. You asked for an example, and,
okay.
And I gave you one.
Another quick question: how's she doing in jail?
She is being what I would say a good mother should be, and that is trying to keep it together so she can assist me and she can assist the family in trying to search for her daughter.
Under your scenario, would Casey answer the question why she had why she stole the gas cans, broke the lock to steal them from her father and put them in the trunk of her car?
You're assuming she stole them, and you're assuming she did this.
Her father told me.
Certainly not. Again, I'm not going to comment on something that's ongoing and speculative at this point until I've had number one, the ample opportunity to review that with my client, and B, until we're actually in the courtroom.
And I agree that you're trying to protect her, but the way the American people look at it is that she should say, look, I don't need protection. I'm willing to take whatever heat I can because my daughter is such and such a place, or I have this information. And more important than myself or my future is the health and welfare of the child. That's the way the American people look at it.
I understand, and I think when all is said and done and all the facts come out, they'll see that there was a compelling reason why she acted the way she did and why this thing has played out the way it has.
Former LAPD Homicide Detective Mark Furman is here with us in Orlando. Mark, if she doesn't provide any information that's beneficial to the police investigation, what happens? How do the police just have to hope for a good tip?
Well, I don't believe so. I think they're doing a good job at putting this case together. It's a big gap, 30 days of a disappearance. But there's only two ways this can come out. Caylee's found alive, or Caylee is found dead. Now, either way...
Or Caylee's not found at all.
Or Caylee's not found at all. Sure.
Then it's all uncertainty.
But no matter what, Casey is showing no remorse. She's showing no grief. It should be debilitating grief and loss. And she shows more grief when she gets charged with these two minor crimes today than she has in the entire time.
Except if they never find Caylee, and whether she did something to her daughter or not, you can't charge her with it just because everyone is so suspicious because her behavior is so out of line or out of whack with what you would expect. That's the problem the police have. They've got to get evidence.
Well, I think they're going to connect three things up. Her lies, the timeline, that is coupled with her lies. If there's biological evidence on the shovel, if there's biological evidence in the trunk of her car or the car she was using that actually connects up to the probable death of this child, they'll file homicide and they'll put it in front of a jury.
But then that starts the clock running. It might be wiser for them to wait and get more evidence too, because that's not a that's not an insurmountable case for, if that's the evidence, it's not insurmountable for a defendant. I don't know which way the wind will blow on that one, but it's not as though it's a slam dunk for the prosecution.
No, and I think by filing these two cases, even if it's a low-grade felony, they put her in the system, and they'll keep seeking a high bond or no bond. They'll keep her in the system, and if there's a chance she's going to get out or she's going to beat those cases, then they'll take their chances with the homicide case if they have the evidence.
And I suppose I should remind everybody that she is presumed innocent, that she has only been accused of 2 crimes, even though everyone is enormously suspicious of her.
Well, Greta, look, I hear the word person of interest. Person of interest, this person's the best suspect. In fact, she's in an orange jumpsuit right now. Of course she's not a person of interest. She's the suspect in her daughter's disappearance, and she refuses to cooperate. There's an interesting thing here. There's only one variable I think that the attorney could be referring to, and that's a third party that could be an accessory after the fact or
an aider and abettor.
So if that person doesn't get in front of this before the police find it, immunity will be out of the question, and everybody's going to have to take their best chance in front of a jury.
As a practical matter, whatever has happened to this child, it could be done by one person.
Absolutely.
By one person. Doesn't need any help or anything. Children are so defenseless that they're very easy to do this to.
Not only that, it doesn't seem premeditated whatsoever. If there was any crime, whether it's an abduction, child stealing by a babysitter, or a stranger, there doesn't seem to be much put into this, but you have to answer this. Why is Casey borrowing a shovel? Why is there any evidence of anything that they can even test in her trunk? Why is she stealing gas? I mean, it makes no sense.
The most troubling question that I have looking at is, why isn't she helping? I mean, that to me is, it's like, I don't understand why she's not helping, even if she thinks she would get into trouble if she truly puts.
Well, not only is she not helping, Greta, she's wasting time by eating up their time trying to actually prove or disprove her lies.
Mark, thank you. Here's a look at what's